If contraction is limiting and a decrease in range and movement, then expansion is opportunity, is more range, more movement, more opportunities, more choices. Hi, welcome. This is a sequel to the first video on expansion and contraction. I thought I'd further define those two terms, expansion and contraction, which are really important to define. Now, contraction, we're going to spend a little bit of time on this. Contraction is very important to understand what a contraction is. Now, this, you can't really escape the contractions in existence, in life, in your life, because looking at contraction in the spectrum of infinite reality and the infinite choices that exist in life and in the universe. Everything is a contraction, from the infinite to the manifest. Everything manifests from infinite potential, so therefore there has to be a contraction involved. And so let's just look at our daily lives. Well, starting first with the individual, I am a contraction of the infinite. I am a limitation of the infinite. Just looking over the lifetime. So of all the possibility and choices that you might be available to you, so you go to school, you learn a language, first of all. There's the first contraction. And then you go to school, you have a culture, that's a contraction, given the larger universal culture. That's a contraction, but even the simple things, like going to the bank. When you go to a bank, that's a contraction. Let's say, first of all, you walk in, there's corrals. That's a contraction of the potential for that space. So there's a corral. It guides you into the teller. There's even more restrictions there. There's either glass or there's something restricting your behavior at the teller. There's a limit to what you do, what you say, how you do it, how you say it, where you stand. That's a contract. There's a contract that's forced to a certain degree in that situation because of the corral, but there's also unwritten contractions. There's also unwritten rules. There's rules there that are in play. So the way you talk, the way you act, where you stand, how you stand, so on. And we do that all the time. Let's say going to the gym, that's a contraction. So you limit your behavior when you go to the gym. You wear certain clothes, you go in there, you behave a certain way, you choose a couple things that you're going to do while you're there. There's limitations in terms of talking to people, the behavior. There's unwritten rules. Rules are contractions. That's what a contract is. A contract is a piece of paper with written rules and limitations. It lays out the limitations, what the expectations are, what the rules are, what the spectrum of actions are, what the outcome is. It's a contract. That's why it's called a contract. It's a set of rules. So we do that all the time. So that's what a contract is. So any behavior that you do in life, let's say, like from the other video we were talking about, like doing a substance drug of some kind, does that behavior contract you? does that behavior limit you? Does any of the behaviors and choices you make get limited? Let's take, for instance, doing a substance of some sort, mind-altering substance. Is the substance and the action and the intention contracting you? I mean, does it make you more limited than what you are or were or have the potential to be? It's the limitation, the range of action. And this is very important. It's obvious in our lives where we have limits, where we have reduced range of motion. That's a contraction. And is that part of our paradigm? Are we accepting that? Is that what we want, that kind of contraction, that kind of contract? We do have these choices to make. Now, let's go to the word expansion. Expansion obviously is the opposite of that, where if contraction is limiting and a decrease in range and movement, then expansion is opportunity, is more range, more movement, more opportunities, more choices. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about an expansion, but there's other types of expansions, like in consciousness, awareness, energy, information. You can expand. Which means growth as well. So if you're growing in a relationship, if you're now growing, what does that mean? Growing in a relationship. It means basically the same thing. Is there more choice? Do you have more choice in your relationship? Do you have more range? Do you have more growth? More opportunities? More development? If it's a contraction in a relationship, then that means there's less of everything. Less range, less opportunity, less growth, or zero growth. But expansion part of your paradigm. So that's the choice that one has to come to that understanding. If expansion is part of you, part of your reality, part of your intention, then the decisions will be centered around that and the choices. So again, expansion is removing the limits. Increasing the range of motion, increasing the growth, increasing awareness, increasing goodness, increasing intentions, increasing in every way that is imaginable. But there's other layers to expansion too. So you can expand from, let's say, your community to your state. Let's say you have a range from a community to a state, but that's one way. It's still limit depending on how you look at it. So same with an individual, with a human being, you can expand out of the ego state. Ego is a limit, is a limitation. It is a set of rules that we follow. It's a contract. An ego, an identity is a contract. Personal development, spiritual development is an expansion, but it's an expansion outside of the normal range of a human being. It's outside of the senses that we use every day, the five senses plus cognition, thinking. It's outside of that. It's outside of the energetic range that we had too as a ego regular body. The frequency changes. So I hope that that was cleared that up a little bit and was a better definition for expansion and contraction, and made that a little bit clearer. Hope that was helpful, and it is really important concept, especially for spiritual growth and for any kind of personal development. So I hope that's been really valuable to you. And thanks for watching the video, and we'll see you at the next video. Thanks for now. Bye.
The power of love is here now. The power of now is here now. The power of you, me, is here to create magic on us.